Hey, honey.
Yes, Barry?
Let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Así en el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Hey, maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants here. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos Beach, and the El Dorado Restaurant Beach Club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week we are going to visit a hot restaurant in the middle of a romantic zone. It's become one of my favorites, and it's called Tuna Azul. You're going to meet Diego Maldonado. He's the manager and one of the family in this family business. And you're going to meet my friend Constance. Constance is known in the TripAdvisor forum world as Condu. And Constance is going to talk about some great condos that she found using Airbnb and Virbo, V-I-R-B-O. She's into the more upscale digs, unlike me. But before we get to Diego and Condu, let's see what's happening in Puerto Vallarta this week, the 2nd of October, 2019. Tropical storm Narda has finally passed through Puerto Vallarta, leaving lots of destruction in her wake, and I've been holding off actually putting out this episode because everything was so fluid here. Don't, please, excuse the pun. I just wanted to get the whole story out to you and not in pieces. So, the night of the 29th, the Rio Quale jumped its banks. It flooded into the romantic zone. The flooding, of course, occurred on the south side of the river with water and silt and mud filling up a bunch of subterranean garages. There were evacuations in the early morning hours near the area of Molina de Agua. The breach occurred at a place where one of the footbridges, one of the crossings over to the Rio Quale is, over at Constitution. I think that's known as the Rizzo Bridge. And the water flooded from that area down the Cinco de Febrero street there, Calle Cinco de Febrero, and Achilles Cerdan, and then down towards the Molina de Agua. That whole area there where there's the Timothy Real Estate Plaza, I call it. There's a Seasons Restaurant there, the Fit Club, all that. It's like a bowl in that area there, and that whole area was just underwater for a little while. Finally, the center of the storm passed through around 7 o'clock in the morning on the 30th of September. The wind speeds were expected to be as high as 40 to 70 miles an hour, but once the storm hit the mountains along the coast, their wind just basically died down. There was lots of damage, lots of flooded cars. Mud, silt from the river just covered lots of the area from Constitution down to the sea. And like I said, a lot of these subterranean garages were filled and a lot of cars were damaged. There's a lot of rain coming down right now, actually on the night of October 1st as I am recording this podcast. It rained all night. Lots yesterday, and the current levels are somewhere around 65 inches year to date, and that's compared to last year's around about 45. So almost 20 inches difference between last year's rain totals and this year's rain totals. Lots of rain in Puerto Vallarta, not the kind that we want, not all at once, really. I mean, come on. This is getting crazy. Anyway, I will be there the beginning of October 6th. I'm going to bring my umbrella, and I'm just kidding. I don't need no stinking umbrella. But unfortunately, the biggest issue is not in the romantic zone. That's going to be cleaned up before you know it. In fact, the cleanup is underway right now. Mayor's been in town, pointing here and there, explaining the reasons why there was so much flooding in the area, basically saying, hey, this is a very unusual rainy occurrence, basically. And stuff like this happens. But I have video of the Yalapa River. Just it's so huge. Yalapa, there's a beach. There's used to be a big sandbar. It's gone. It's washed away. Every year we see these wild videos of the waterfalls in Yalapa looking like, the Niagara Falls on steroids. Well, there's a lot of damage in Yalapa. And I'm going to be on the ground there next week. I'll bring the latest on what's happening there, but they need a lot of help. Last week, we talked about Hurricane Lorena and all the rain and virtually no wind in Vallarta. And, I said that there was no damage down south other than, some banana trees. Well, there was lots of flooding, of course, as I mentioned. But that flooding caused mudslides. And so the areas of Corrales, Tehuamixle, if you've ever been to Tehua, Tehuamixle, it's a fishing village. It sits at the bottom of a bowl. If you turn around and look behind you, you're surrounded by cliffs. And there were rock and mudslides affecting a lot of the homes and a school and businesses. The road to Tehua, Mixle, and to Maito is closed. And the road that was leading into Tehua from Maito was also washed away partially for a while. It was being repaired, but then that rain came again the next 2 nights. So we're going to have to see what it looks like over the next week. The road to Maito, that whole road, like I said, is washed out in many, many places. They're not sure when it will be repaired, but there are lots of folks in Maito that are stranded. Their only way to get out is by sea. I reached out to our friend Jimmy Pluff over at Tunnel Road Barbecue because I saw that he was busting his behind getting supplies together and taking them to places that need them. So let's see what Jimmy's doing right now, and let's see how we can help. Hello, hola. You've had a very busy day.
Always. It's a busy thing to be me. Somehow I keep getting busier all the time. I don't know how the hell that happened.
Yeah, I know how it happened. You went for an adventure. That's how that happened.
Yeah, apparently. You ever go on a Vallarta bus adventure? That's what I call getting on the wrong bus.
Really?
Well, the boat guy today picked me up in Marina Vallarta, and I was told that he was going to drop me back off at the same place. I don't know. We pulled into Boca, and he was like, good luck. So I got to find my way back from Boca today.
Congratulations on that.
I haven't done that in a while. Those new buses sure are nice.
They're very nice. They're much nicer than they used to be.
Yeah, big time. You can't see through the floor. I remember Mexico of the 90s. My family used to go down to Acapulco all the time, and we ended up in a taxi. That's back when there were bochos, the Beatles.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And we were in one of those, and you could see through the floor. And my dad and the driver had to get out and push it and start it every time we stopped.
Yes, the Acapulco of days gone by.
That's Mexico I remember.
All right, so the weather's been inclement. It's raining right now, isn't it?
Yeah. They're. I just heard from my buddy in Boca, and he said that he sounded really scared. He said they're going to get more water, and he said, the water is right up to his house because he's on the other side of the river there. There's no bridges. He can't get to his house because the river's too high. and there's no path now to his house. Like, he's got to walk across porches and climb behind houses to get to his house.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, he's on the other side. He's on the other side of the Boca.
Yep. He's on the other side of the river there. Like,
the other side of the bridge.
Down in town on one side.
Wow.
But he said his boat's okay, which is good. He was smart. His dad lost his boat because it was in the river when the rain came.
Yeah.
But his boat, he pulled up on the beach the night before. He said it was just a fluke. Normally I put it in the river, but that night I just pulled it on the beach. I was lazy. It was the only time being lazy ever helped me.
Wow, no kidding. No kidding. You would think it was just the opposite. They would be thinking, well, we got some rain. We should be pulling these things out. Yeah,
I don't know how they work that, but they seem to work together as a team to put those things in and out of the water. They're not backing them in with a trailer.
No, they're not.
So,
no.
You ever watch them wrestle those things up onto the beach?
I would not. Yeah, they're huge.
Well, not just that they're huge, they're heavy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
His boat's pretty small, but it's freaking, lots of fiberglass to throw up on the beach.
Yeah, very, very heavy. All right, so not last night, 2 nights ago on the 29th.
I want to say it was the night of the 29th.
So the night of the 29th, we had the Quale overflowed. And do you know where it breached?
I don't. I know it's in and around Old Town, like closest to the bridge there, the walking bridge.
Yeah.
The little chain one that goes across, the kind of janky one. It wiped that thing out. That thing's gone.
Right, and then it just flooded those first 3 or 4 streets, and then that just all went right down into right down into the bowl. There's like a little
Old Town there. They got a couple of feet of water, I think.
Yeah. All right, so the day before, Yalapa got totally inundated. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I've got actually. I'm just going through the pictures now. I was down there today. We stopped by there on the way back to check it out and just take some pictures. We went down to Corrales in a water taxi today with about 3 pickup fulls of stuff.
Yeah.
And that went in about 5 minutes because they're normally connected to the 200 by a bridge. Well, their bridge is gone. Wow. So all of them they're all stuck there. We were the first boat that's been in there in 2 days.
Wow. So you were there with water, and what else did you have?
I rode down there with some guys that had stuff already, and they were headed down there, and then they picked up some people from there to take them back to Boca so that they could hop a bus to Vallarta and get to whatever they needed to get to.
Right.
They'll take them back, I'm guessing, in a day or two.
Okay. And so that was Corrales.
Yeah.
What about Camixto? I heard that they had some issues too.
I didn't get a good look at Camixto on the way by because we're a little far out, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
It looked like they lost a few meters of beach.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Let me see. I'm looking at my pictures here. I'm going to see if I can see Camixto here. Yeah, they lost a couple of meters of beach, but can't really tell a lot from the pictures I've got.
Right, and then I also understand that all the roads into Maito got washed out. They've been gone.
That's my understanding. I haven't been down there, and we haven't been able to get a hold of any of our friends that live down there.
Okay, yeah, I saw a post from a gal, Holly. She's got a place down over in Maito, so I understand that they had quite a lot of damage. Yeah, they had a lot of damage there. I guess they lost their I don't know, it's like a shelter or something like that, some sort of a community house or something there. So that's
really?
That's
it. Yeah,
huh? That's a huge bummer. Yeah, well, that's what I heard. So I'll have to reach out to her. I was headed down there, so maybe I'll go down there and see what's left.
I don't know if you can get down there, man.
I know. Well, that's the thing. It'd have to be boat.
Yeah, it'd be a long boat haul, man. That'd be about a 3-hour boat haul. We went to Corrales, and that's quite a haul on a boat. That was from the marina in a very fast boat. That was an hour and a half.
Oh man, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, and we're still in the bay at that point, I believe.
Yeah,
or just outside.
Right. No, that's that is definitely a long haul. Well, we'll see how it is. We'll see how it is.
Get two 250 horsepower engines on that thing. They were wound out. It still took us an hour and a half to get to Boca.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe 10 people in a big water taxi, so we're booking.
So you also are collecting money for water filters?
Yeah. I've used the Life Straw family units, and now they have a new one called the Life Straw Mission, which is actually a really fabulous unit. It's kind of an improvement on the family unit. Each unit can make 15,000 to 17,000 liters of water before you just toss it.
Oh, wow.
Makes about 10 to 15 liters an hour of drinkable water out of any freshwater source that you've got. So a river, if you've got some water sitting in your Tinaco, whatever it is. I think that's something that everybody in Vallarta should have in their home, their condo, their apartment, just an emergency kit.
Yeah.
Because you can drink any water. You can grab the water out of the toilet and you can drink it.
Right.
And it tastes like nothing. You know, I showed these guys today. I had one with me that I brought to Corrales because they don't know when they're going to get water again. They have one little tiny tienda, and they're not connected to the world, so they have no way to resupply. They're worried about water.
Yeah.
So I showed them how to use it. They were pretty skeptical, but I dipped it in a bucket, put 2 liters of water into a bottle, and drank it. And they were like, "Well, okay, if you'll drink it, we'll drink it."
That crazy gringo is drinking that. Okay.
Yeah, I grabbed a bucket of muddy water from the friggin' river and dumped it in it. And I was like, yeah, it works fine. I trust it. I've drank water out of the Tigris friggin' river out of these things. So if that didn't kill me, this is definitely not gonna.
All right. So, are you collecting? How are we doing this? What kind of fund is going on there?
Well, my wife Frankie has her PayPal available for anybody that wants to donate to that. I've got the link on our the Tunnel Road Facebook page, and then we've got the links also to the Amazon where the water filters can be found. You can send them right to our home address and just message the page, and we'll send you everything you need to know. And then she's also taken direct deposits to her Bancomer account via. Some people use Zoom, some people use TransferWise. However, they send money to Mexico. You can send it directly into her Bancomer account, and we're buying whatever they tell us they need and stockpiling it. We're headed back down again Thursday, but I don't think this is going to be a short mission. I think this is going to be a long-term thing. At least 3 or 4 weeks we need to keep these people going, before they'll be connected back to the world, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yalapa is getting a lot of help. Yalapa is getting a ton of help. There was tons and tons of big boats. I know Vallarta Adventures sent 2 of their big catamarans full of people down there today to help clean, and the Marines have been there with food and water and all kinds of stuff. Yalapa is getting a ton of help. It's these little coastal towns like Pizota and Chimo, Corrales, all those little towns they're kind of getting overlooked.
Okay, so this is the way to do it. I'll have links then in the show notes, and of course, you can always contact Jimmy through the Tunnel Road Facebook page. Send them a message if you need to, and if you're headed down, take a look at this water filter, and I'll have a link to that too in the show notes. And buy one or 2, and bring them down with you, and get them to where they need to go.
They're not terribly expensive. The family model can hold 2 liters of water at a time. The Mission model, they come in 2 sizes. They come in a 5 and a 12 liter. The family model runs about $60 on Amazon. They're cheaper in the U.S. In the Amazon here, I think they run about $65, $70. I'm not sure. But the other one's the larger model, the Mission, which is a lot better because it's kind of like a big bag. So you just fill it with 12 liters of water and it filters it on demand. It's gravity powered. It doesn't need electricity. It doesn't need anything. You just dump water through it, and when the filter is done, it's done. That's it. Toss it. But you can get either of those from Amazon US. You can get them from Amazon Mexico, and send them directly to us, and we'll get them on a boat and make sure they get there to where they need to be. Because right now I know Yalapa has 2, and I've got 2 coming in Wednesday, And then I've got one down in Corrales, but I know Chimo needs one. I know Pizota needs one. Several of these little communities need one.
All right, excellent. Well, I'll be bringing down a couple myself when I see you next week. And everybody look for that link in the show notes and help out. If you're heading down there, this is a perfect time to be of service. You know, everybody down there needs it. So thanks for what you're doing, Jimmy. That's pretty crazy, man.
Definitely, if you can. You know, anybody who stays down here any length of time, especially around the time of year where we get rains and power's out and water's out and stuff like that, think about grabbing one of these and just sticking it in a condo because they have a long shelf life. You leave it sealed in the package, it's good for 5 or 10 years.
Excellent.
So, you know, it's a good piece of emergency kit to have. And if you don't need it when the storm comes, you know, if everybody had one in their condo, we'd get 10 of these things together and send them anywhere really quick and get them in some drinking water. But, you know, if you don't have water to drink, well, there you go. You can now use any source of fresh water to drink.
Oh, that's great. That's all great advice. All right, everybody. Jimmy, thanks. I'll be seeing you next week.
Yes, sir. See you then.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you very much. I have the links to those filters in the show notes. And if you're coming down anytime soon, think about buying 1 or 2 or 3 of these filters and bring them on down and get them into Jimmy's hands. Jimmy, of course, as I said, he's over at the Tunnel Road Barbecue, and he will get them into the right hands. Also, while you're there, don't think about rescuing everybody all the time. Think about rescuing yourself. Have yourself some great barbecue while you're at it, okay? We call that a win-win here in Southern California. That Life Straw Mission water purification system runs $90 US for the 5-liter one. The 20-liter one runs around $129, about $130. So any of those, of course, would be more than acceptable, and truly, they would be truly grateful for them. And I have another podcast episode featuring Jimmy coming up in a couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about, among other things, about surviving on Mexican wages. It's going to be very, very interesting. Also, as you remember from last week when Hurricane Lorena came by, I have a post that was shared by Maddie and Jesse over at La Jolla de Tuito Bed and Breakfast over in El Tuito. They have a collection going on too. I'll read from their Facebook page, and it reads, Hurricane Lorena left many families in Cabo Corrientes worried about their livelihoods. Heavy rainfall flooded homes and schools. High winds destroyed crops, and fishing villages were left without work. You can help them for only $11 US or 170 pesos. You can donate a care package with 10 essential food products to these families. Any amount that you can donate would be greatly appreciated. They're taking donations at the Oxos around town, by the way, also at La Jolla de Tuito, and of course you can send them funds via PayPal. They'll make sure that they get the money to the right folks. I sent them some too, and here we go. I spoke with my friend Linda. Linda is the girlfriend of Tane Escalante from Agua Fria Camping over in El Tuito. You remember I took you there a couple months ago. Well, Linda works over in the municipal government there in Cabo Corrientes, and she also points out that in addition to the $11 care packages, they can always use money or materials for cleanup supplies, roofing materials, and so forth. So lots of emergencies associated with living in the tropics, you guys, living in hurricane country, and it's rainy season too. So just keep in mind, all these places that we love so much, the places that make Puerto Vallarta such a great place to visit, are unfortunately in real trouble. And this is not man-made. This stuff is nature-made. So please don't avoid coming down. Like I said, downtown and the romantic zone is going to be just like brand new when you get here in a couple of weeks. But these other areas, like Las Animas, like Mismaloya, Boca de Tomatlan, Camixto, Maito, Tehuamixle, Yalapa, all those smaller villages that we talked about, less visited, like Bizota and Corrales and Chimo. These are all beautiful places that really, really need our help, and they need it in a very short time, right? So if we can help them, they can definitely get back on their feet. We know they can, and of course, these beautiful places will stay beautiful places. We know how precious they are, so let's do what we can to help them out, okay? And speaking of emergencies associated with living in the tropics, dengue is in the news again. This time it's being blamed on climate change. Oh, yes. But I think before I get to that, let's talk about emergency dengue next week, okay? Okay. Now, there are some fun little activities happening in Puerto Vallarta right now. Actually, Puerto Vallarta is planning activities for Animal Week. I'll read from Vallarta Daily News. Puerto Vallarta will promote the care and protection of animals during Animal Week from October the 4th through the 11th with a series of talks and activities to commemorate World Animal Day. Silvia Alvarez Bustos, head of the Animal Welfare Department, announced the program that has been prepared for Friday the 4th at 10 a.m., with an exhibition in the courtyard of the municipal presidency, where 5 artists will participate. They will present their works in clay, paint, and ceramics related to animals, as well as screening of the film Cría Puercos in the auditorium of the Vallartense Institute of Culture at 6 o'clock in the evening. Saturday, October the 5th, the talk Social Journalism and Animal Welfare will be held, which will be taught by Jose Luis Jimenez Castro and Laura Diaz, founder and producer of the Amigo Animal Program, respectively, which has more than 25 years promoting animal rights and welfare. The talk will be held in the boardroom of the UMA at 1 p.m. On Sunday, Alvarez Bustos, the Animal Bohemian concert, will take place with an evening of music and poetry in the courtyard of the municipal presidency at 7 p.m. And while on Monday, the photo walk will be carried out on the boardwalk of the city at 10 in the morning, a photographic exhibition of the animals that are held in the Animal Health and Control Center of Puerto Vallarta. Then on October 8th, the talk Bees, Our Allies will be presented by Imperial Bee, a group that collaborates with the Subdirectorate of Civil Protection and Firefighters on the issue of protection of swarms. That talk will take place in the VIVC auditorium at noon, in addition to a tour of the Quale River Island to know the local swarms. Within these activities, there's a talk about the humpback whales and the projects in the Banderas Bay at 6 p.m., while on Thursday, a talk about basic concepts of animal welfare will be presented at 5 p.m., both in the Bernice Star Room of the Los Mangos Library. Friday, the symposium will be held Management of Poisonings Caused by Animals of Ponzonia at the UMI at 11 in the morning, and at night, the 5th edition of the Animal Party in Senor Frogs, which is the only event that has any cost. It will be 150 pesos per person. All events except the Animal Party will have no cost. However, there will be a voluntary donation in kind so that attendees can donate sterile gloves and cat litter and bagged food or canned food for cats and puppies. Different activities are going to be carried out by the Animal Health Control Center. Anyway, I have a link to the article, but you don't need to read it. I just read it to you. It's in the show notes, so it's going to be a good week for the animals. Saving sea turtles in Puerto Vallarta, Campamento Tortugo Poco de Tomates. Don't forget them while you're in town. Remember that they are being released almost every night right now. They've been having a lot of babies, and they need people to help release them. So go to their Facebook page, see if they're doing a release that night, and then get out there. Make sure that you bring your mosquito repellent as well. Get there on time. get there way before the sun sets so you can maybe pick up a little trash and make that place look even prettier, because all these rains have washed all kinds of garbage and trash down into that area. So get over there, even if you're not going to be releasing turtles, and bring some trash bags and do our beaches a favor. Now, I am coming to Paradise, yay, in just a couple days on the 6th of May. So next Sunday, I will finally be in Puerto Vallarta. I plan to, as I said last week, I plan to horn in on JR's meet and greet over at Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse. So we're going to meet on the rooftop between 5:30 and 7:30. And please, while you're there, bring me your Puerto Vallarta stories, your restaurant suggestions, places to visit, holes in the wall, places that we've never heard of, your favorite Airbnb, your favorite resort. Tell us all about it. If you have a Puerto Vallarta charity, why, it's time to come on over and talk to me about it. Once again, it's going to be Tuesday, October the 8th at 5:30, Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse, Lazaro Cardenas, 245 in the Romantic Zone. And I'll have T-shirts. I got an email from listener Hillary, and Hillary writes, Barry, you have made such an impact with your travel podcast for myself and my family and friends. As I was listening yesterday, a thought occurred to me. I want to know how Barry will answer his own questions. I'd like to interview you on your show. How cool would that be? I know your listeners would love that. You have any thoughts? Maybe Skype me or something. How fun. Let me know, Hillary. Now, Hillary and I have become friends, and we've talked. We've even talked on the phone with one another a couple of times over the past couple of years. And I really like Hillary. She has a great voice, so I'm not worried about that. I'm sure she would be perfectly fine to interview me. But, I was thinking about this, and I figured I'd better ask you all what you think about this. Here's my take on it. Every week, I ask someone for recommendations in the hope that, I can extract a piece of information about a place that you and I have never heard of. Be it a restaurant, a special location, a day trip, So if someone's asking me the same questions, I don't know, it might be like, well, why do anything else? I mean, if Barry says that that's the best, then why stray off of his suggestions, I mean, I'm only there for a short time. Why would I do anything else anybody else says? Let's just do what Barry says. So, and it's true that my listeners do that. It's been proven. They do what I tell them to do. It's kind of interesting, but, you know what I'm talking about, right? So the truth is that I don't live here. I spend about 30 days a year in Puerto Vallarta. That's about 10 days at a time. The places that interest me are the places that I actually take you to every week. So in my mind, all of you, already know what I like. You know the places I like, because if I didn't like them, I wouldn't take you to them. I wouldn't take the show there. So, Hillary, as you can hear, I'm pretty reticent to do this, but let's see what the listeners say, and then we'll see. All right? Okay, and thank you. It's so nice of you to write and to call and to be active in the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show community. And that should be an invitation to all of you who are listening to please feel free to be active. You can interact with me anytime. And definitely go to my Facebook page. I'm posting there every day. I've got little pictures, places that I go, cute little shots that I take, and news and information. If you want to see all the nasty stuff that happened down in Ilapa and Camixto and in the Romantic Zone, just go to the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show Facebook page, and I've posted all of that stuff there. So check it out. And again, Hillary, We'll see. All right, let's get to the interview, shall we? Now, new restaurants open every day in Puerto Vallarta, it seems. The restaurant scene is still exploding, even with over 900 restaurants throughout the bay. If a restaurant makes it through the first year, it is often a miracle. But this place that I'm going to take you to has really done a really great job of convincing the very picky eaters in this town, the very spoiled folks, that their food ranks among the top in the restaurants in town. And the name of this place is Tuna Azul. And it's easy to find as long as you're looking up because it's on the second floor. It's on a prominent corner, however, in the Olas Altas area of Puerto Vallarta. It's on the corner of Olas Altas Street and Francisco Rodriguez. And Francisco Rodriguez is known as Pier Street. If you walk up Francisco Rodriguez from the pier, from the Los Muertos Pier, the first cross street you will run into is Olas Altas. And like I said, if you look up and across the street, you will see Tuna Azul sitting above Cafe San Angel. Cafe San Angel is a hamburger joint. It's on the northeast corner. And it's just down the block from Andales over on Olas Altas, if you need a little point of reference there coming from that part of town. So the place is a cool little place. It's open on two sides, so you can sit at the railing and have a good seat. You can watch the world pass by. Basically, it is sitting on one of the busiest pedestrian intersections in Puerto Vallarta. Great people-watching area. But, you know, if the food isn't any good, then why would you sit there, right? So they have fantastic food. They got great tunes. They've got, flat-screen TVs around for you sports fans. They have great drinks that will keep you coming back for more. So I climbed the steps up to the second level of the building, and I asked the manager, Diego, if he would talk to me. And so Diego said, in English, and I said, yeah. And he says, well, can we do it in Spanish? And I said, well, we can do it in Spanish. I offered to do it in Spanish. But as you see, as the interview progresses, I soon discovered that Diego's English was just fine. He was just a little nervous. And so we just went ahead. So it's going to start a little bit Spanishy, but it's going to end very Englishy, okay? You're going to understand everything we say. So, and again, Hillary, this is one of these places that I would take you to, that I would say, I like this place, and that's why I'm taking you here now. So enough of this, enough of me. Let's go to Calle Francisco Rodriguez, 155 in the romantic zone of Puerto Vallarta, and let's meet Diego Maldonado, one of the family at this cool restaurant, Tuna Azul. Diego, thanks for joining me today.
Gracias.
Dígame, tell me, where are you from? Are you from Puerto Vallarta?
Sí, I was born here in Puerto Vallarta.
Really? All right. It's a pata salada. I got pata salada
Sí,
right.
es pata salada y mi familia es un restaurante familiar.
Is it? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So this is your family restaurant?
Sí, exactamente.
Ah, qué bueno. All right.
Soy el dueño, I'm
Yeah.
a owner, junto con mis hermanos.
Ah,
Okay.
very good.
Mi hermano mayor, the older brother is the bartender, the younger brother is the chef, and me, I'm waiter, and my dad is waiter too.
Ah, very
Okay.
good. So it's a family business.
Family business, yeah.
Beautiful. We love family businesses here in Puerto Vallarta. So how long have you been open?
3 years ago.
3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a younger restaurant.
Yeah. Well, but some restaurants don't make it 3 years. Some restaurants don't make it 1 year. So
Yeah.
congratulations on
Thank
that.
you. Thank you so much.
You're in a good place too. It seems right. You're like right in the middle of all the excitement.
Yeah, yes, it's a good place and good area.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about the restaurant itself. What kind of dishes do you serve?
Okay, everything here, the idea is like everything's fresh and make a moment. So we use different fishes like tuna is the house special because the restaurant is Tuna Azul. So you can come here and order tuna is the number one, right?
Right.
But in the specialties and menu, you can take mahi mahi fillet, or in the tacos tilapia, but it's fresh from the area. It's from the ground, from the farm. Okay, but it's fresh. And we have different things like you can eat lobster tacos or garlic shrimp tacos, garlic octopus tacos, and more, right?
Yeah. So these are tacos that are not unusual for like a seafood like taqueria, but you must be doing something very special here. They say that some of the best tacos are really good because of the sauces that you put on them.
No, but the basic here is everything here is make a moment and simple, right? And
Right.
you taste great flavors, but not too much flavor difference. No, it's good. The portion is very good, and the service is amazing, right? You don't like whatever you don't like it, I'm change whatever, right?
Right. Wow. Well, it's because it's a family business. Everybody is concerned, so that's the really cool thing about what you're doing here, I think.
Sí.
So, what is the favorite thing? What is the favorite thing that people get?
Okay, like the best plate or something like that.
Yeah, like what's the biggest selling plate that you have?
The tuna montadito is the name.
Okay.
It's a one appetizer. Always, I'm recommend for sure. It's a tuna plate. It's a chopped avocado with onion, cilantro, lime, and salt. And on top, we are putting on top the tuna with jalapeno marinated with lime, soy sauce, and chili oil. But the flavor is amazing.
That sounds great.
Also, we are winner contest, the festival de ceviche en agua chile.
Oh,
Come
yeah?
here year for year, and we are winner 2 times consecutive.
All right. Yeah, I know Edgar over there at the Agua Chili Festival.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. I saw that on Facebook, I think.
Yeah, you have a good comment in Facebook and TripAdvisor, Yelp, anywhere you find us and check the comentarios.
Yeah, the comments.
We are the best.
Yeah, you are. I mean, that's why I'm here, brother. Okay. What time do you open?
Open 1 until 10.
1 till 10. So you serve in lunch and dinner.
And we closed Wednesdays.
Okay.
It's day off.
Wednesday's your day off.
Yeah.
Miraculous, everybody. Just keep away on Miraculous. You'll be really disappointed.
Yeah.
Let's step away from the restaurant just for a minute. If you were going to go away for a day and just take the day off but come back, where would you go?
When my day off?
Yeah, where would you go?
Sometimes I like go to the beach, but my favorite beach is Yelapa. It's very maybe actually next week my friends and me go to the Yelapa.
Going to Yelapa. When you go there, do you have like a favorite like beach restaurant that you go to there?
In Yelapa?
Yeah. Or you just go to wherever
I don't
you
know
like?
what's the better, but I'm a chef, so my friends say, "Hey, cooking for us." Okay, perfect.
No, they make you work on your day off?
But I love my job. I love. Actually, I'm a chef and my brother. So, in the same kitchen, is very bad to chefs, right?
Right, you're right.
So my brother is like a tiger in the kitchen. So I'm saying you're in the kitchen, and I love server. So I'm a waiter right now.
Yeah. Well, you make a good waiter too. You take good care of your customers.
Yeah.
What if you were going to leave for like 3 days, like a 3-day weekend? Where would you go?
At nights, right? Because
3 days
in
and nights.
day
Sure.
I'm work, right?
Right.
My favorite place is my home, right?
Yeah, of
I
course.
love my room and my bed. It's very good. But I need to distractions my mind with my friends. So I'm go to the bars, small bars, and take out tequila. Sometimes good, and the company very good friends. So sometimes go to the Concha Chinas.
Uh-huh.
It's very nice because have a great view in some
Yeah.
areas. I take my car, and it's cheap because no paying nothing. Only
Sure.
take my car and one beer, and that's it, right?
Yeah, that's
It's
the,
easy. Everything for my life is easy and day off. Very easy.
yeah, because when you're working hard,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
time to take it
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, when my always my friends day off is weekend, so weekend for me is very hard, right?
Right.
But it's okay.
That's okay. It's
Yeah.
exactly right. Do you have some advice for someone who's coming to Puerto Vallarta for the first time?
Puerto Vallarta is very safe, so you can walk in at night, 3 a.m. or wherever. It's very safe. But I recommend not drink a lot. If you come here alone, sometimes it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But you can drink in the plastic glass. No crystal.
Right. No bottles.
No bottles. And that's it. Vallarta is very happiness. Wherever you go, the service is good, and the waiters, the chefs, everything. People is born Vallarta, right? It's Vallarta have a history more than 100 years. More 101.
Yeah,
maybe.
101 now. Yeah.
Yeah, and so for me it's important because I was living in different countries and areas. I was living in Playa del Carmen, so Playa del Carmen is grow up very fast in 20 years. So your neighborhoods or is born in different places.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But here is everything. The area is pata salada. We are pata salada, right?
Yeah.
It's different the service for this reason.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I hear that from a lot of people. They say that when they go to other places in Mexico, the difference is the people here, and they're friendly and not in your face. Very, very friendly.
Yeah.
Is there anything I missed? Is there something that I forgot to ask you?
My mom. Where is my mom right now?
Where is your mom right now?
It's the queen. It's in the house.
Ah.
Not work.
So it's just the boys, huh?
Yeah, we are 3 boys and my dad. So
And, yeah. Well,
my mom is the only girl in the family, so we are protect and give money. Right?
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
it.
That's
Yeah, it's
great.
good. Sometimes come here and say, "Hey, it's not clean this area." Okay, right? the girls is are very smart. Some
Yeah.
think different things like boys,
Yeah.
but he helped us in administrations
Mm-hmm.
and pay the bills, anything, right?
Right. So she does the hard work, doesn't she?
Yeah. she work with your mind.
With her mind. That's right. She's the brains.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
So recommend come here because this area, the restaurants son muy viejos. Everything here is
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
So never find one restaurant server owners.
Right. Yeah.
Here, come here and I'm a server.
Right.
I'm on
You're the
owner's
family. When you come here, you're with family.
Family business.
Where are you? Give me the streets.
Okay, there's Francisco Rodriguez Street, cross with Olas Altas.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1 block from the pier de Los Muertos Beach.
Yeah.
1 block, and the second floor, the Tuna
Very good.
Azul.
I'm going to have pictures of this lovely restaurant. I'm going to have pictures of Diego's smiling face.
Uh-huh.
And you'll find all that stuff, of course, in the blog post over at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. And I will have pictures of some of the food, and I'll have a map that'll bring you right to the front door of Tuna Azul. And remember, you have to climb some stairs to get here. You don't have an elevator, right? All right. So, hey, if they can't make it up the stairs, can they eat it downstairs?
Of course, yes. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Okay, so you hear that? If you guys don't do stairs, just ask him to bring it down to you, right? This stuff is killer. It's so good. Diego, thank you so much for taking the time. You know, I want you to know Diego didn't want to talk to me in English because he said his English wasn't good. Diego lied to me. Diego, your English is so good, brother.
I need to practice more. I'm learning right now. So for me, thank you for coming here and practice with me English, right?
Very good.
So see you soon, guys, and when you come Puerto Vallarta, don't forget visit Tuna Azul.
Excelente. Right? Thanks, Diego. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Okay, Diego, great job. I have pictures of this place, the food, links, maps, all that stuff. Everything will get you right to his front door at Tuna Azul. And you will not, I guarantee you will not be sorry that you stopped by and had a drink and some wonderful food. All right, next, I have a TripAdvisor forum buddy who I actually quoted on the show probably 2 years ago. Her name is Constance, and she goes by the handle of Condu over on the TripAdvisor forum pages. I love the way that she writes. And so, as I've said, I quoted her at least once on the podcast. And on my first visit to Puerto Vallarta to record interviews back in January of 2017, I actually arranged to meet Constance and her husband, Dwayne, for dinner over at Leila's restaurant over in the Cinco de Diciembre neighborhood. It was my first trip to Puerto Vallarta without my wife, so it was a little awkward for me, not having a dinner date. So we made arrangements, and we had a lovely dinner. And by the way, we're going to be going to Leila's in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. They're changing up their menu, and I just love that place too, Hillary. Anyway, I told them what I was doing there, that I had started a podcast, and I think that they were a little amused, actually, that I was off, starting this little adventure. But at any rate, I was impressed with the way that they traveled, and I liked their descriptions of the places that they were staying. So Constance and Dwayne, they don't travel like I do. I get a thrill out of being comfortable in a $30 a night studio. But no, they travel more luxuriously on a much nicer Airbnb and VIRBO budget for sure. They go to these different online rental platforms and they discover places that are going to be unique. And let's just say you were going to be comparing these nicer Airbnbs to, let's say, an all-inclusive resort property. You would most likely find that the luxury rental would be superior in many ways, but no one is going to ask you if you would like to see their timeshare. Go take you for a little timeshare scam presentation. You're going to be free to eat, wherever you like, cheaply, in town for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You won't miss the resort food, I promise you. And, of course, you'll be able to live like a local, or at least more like a local, than if you were living at a resort, kind of like trapped inside a resort. So we've talked about this, right? So Constance thought that we should talk about her rental experiences as well as some of her favorite places to eat while they're in town for our subject. So we met over at Langostinos over on Playa Los Muertos, right next door to Cuates y Cuetes. And we talked about luxury condos and so forth. And just as we started to talk, the live music kicked in as well. So we're going to have a soundtrack to this too. How wonderful, right? It's actually pretty good. Anyway, so let's go right now to Langostinos over on Playa Los Muertos. Let's learn about luxury rentals in paradise. And let's meet my buddy from Nanaimo, British Columbia, Condu. Constance, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, it's a delight, Barry.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Vancouver Island, in Canada, and we live in a small city called Nanaimo.
Nanaimo. You know, there's a lot of people that come to Puerto Vallarta from Nanaimo for some reason. I don't know what the deal is.
It's true. I have friends down here right now, and last year there were like several couples that we knew.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go. Well, when was your first trip to Puerto Vallarta?
About 3 years ago.
So...
Well, our first trip actually was in 1980.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, we booked a Club Med about 2 hours south of Puerto Vallarta.
Uh-huh.
And we were stuck there for about 2 weeks. And on our way back, we stopped in Puerto Vallarta for half a day. And we kind of went, we want to come back here sometime. And we knew exactly where we wanted to come back to. It was called the Hotel California.
Uh-huh. Oh, really?
And we just loved it. It was so cute. But it took us many decades to get back.
Yeah, like many years to get back.
Many decades.
So, yeah. So I'm guessing the Hotel California wasn't there when you got back.
No.
In fact, I know it wasn't there when you got back.
I looked for several years online, but I never did find it.
Yeah, there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how was your first experience here? Your first visit?
Our first visit was really, really good. We rented 2 different condos, one in Upper Conchistinas and one in the 5th of December. And both places had wonderful views.
Uh-huh.
And both had pools and all the facilities one would hope one could have.
Good. All right. Now, how did you know to do that? You rented. How long did you rent these condos for?
We rented each condo for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Each, and we have been renting various rentals around the world, including condos, apartments, casitas, villas.
So this was nothing new to you to come to?
No, we had been doing it for about at least maybe 20 years by that time.
Okay, cool. Well, that's a great way to travel. And, you Canadians, you know how to travel. You get out of Canada just as fast as you can when the snow starts falling. Oh,
even before sometimes. Because it can be we live in British Columbia, which is very, very wet on the west coast. Interior is a different climate, but on the west coast of British Columbia, it's extremely wet for months at a time.
Okay, yeah.
So you kind of get tired of the rain. So I kind of pick places that are tropical but are not in their rainy season.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Try and hit their dry seasons.
Yeah.
And Puerto Vallarta appeals to us because our winter coincides with their dry season.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so tell us about things that you did when you were here.
Well, we try to live as much as we can within the neighborhood. That's one of the reasons we like to rent a condo. We like the feeling of being part of a community. I know we're not Mexican and we're not living in a casita, but we still like to shop at the little local markets and cook our own food at least a couple times a day within the condo situation.
So you don't go to restaurants like 3 times a day. You go maybe once, huh?
It's generally once a day, either dinner or lunch. I tend to do most of my breakfast within the condo situation, but we do go to the occasional breakfast, especially if we try to make it special, maybe like going to La Palapa. We're right on the beach with a great view, great food, great service.
Yeah. Well, so tell us about the 2 neighborhoods you stayed in. One was in Conchas Chinas, you said. The other one was in the 5 de Diciembre.
Yes.
They're both totally different kinds of worlds, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It was like taking 2 separate vacations. Conchas Chinas is a very upscale part of Puerto Vallarta. It has many, many white villas and beautiful condos. Sort of looks like pictures of people can imagine of Greece, that kind of feeling. Where the 5th of December, that was we were up a very, very steep hill. That is very steep country.
Uh-huh.
I could not walk up the hill. I had to taxi to go home. But we walked down all the time, and the views from there were really beautiful. I really enjoyed seeing all the territorial views beyond the water views. From there, we could also watch the whales, which was quite a nice experience.
Yeah.
Although we have experienced whales before. We even swam with whales in Hawaii.
Yeah, how fun is that? And she didn't get swallowed by it either, so
No,
that's pretty good.
no, I didn't go out that far.
Oh, you didn't?
But there were people that went right out and swam with them when we
Wow.
were there.
Wow, I'd be so afraid to have one of those guys, make a left turn or something
Exactly.
like that.
One big sweep of the tail.
Right. That would not be so good. So, yeah, you could see whales out in the bay from the Cinco de Diciembre place.
Oh, for sure. Well, we did from Conchachina, too. Actually, they were closer from Conchachina. But I don't know. The Conchachina view was very static where we were at that particular place. We were right above Lindomar, up a cliff, 100 stairs to get to.
Row.
From
Every day?
every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Twice a day?
Yeah, even sometimes twice a day. But
Well, those stairs make you, when you see those, they make you think twice about going for, a quick little run to the market.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were pretty exciting.
Yeah, I bet. All right. So, would you ever, because that was you discovered that 100 stairs, would you ever go back to that one?
I would have been a minute. A matter of fact, I tried to book it the next year. Problem being, it was sold. And it never came on the market as a rental property. The people moved in and lived in it.
They moved in and they decided they liked it just as much as you did.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, okay.
The one in Conchachina, the reason I liked it so much, it was sort of upscale Mexican. It was beautifully furnished. The art was all Mexican art and original. It was just such a wonderful feeling. The pool was huge and heated. I swam every day, 2 or 3 times a day minimum, which I found really healthful for me. I could feel myself getting stronger and stronger each day. Each day I improved while I was swimming there. So it was really, I really felt like I was at home there.
Yeah.
The place was fully stocked with food, booze, endless sheets, towels, anything that you could imagine.
Wow.
So it was really one of the most luxe places I've ever stayed because of that situation.
Yeah.
The one in 5th of December was a very modern apartment, brand new condo. It was there was nothing wrong with it, but it just didn't have quite the vibe that the Conchachina apartment had. But one of the advantages there was it was more in a neighborhood. We could watch the people live their daily lives just below us. One day there was a big fiesta, and I sat on my balcony, and it was a rooftop party, and my balcony looked right down onto their rooftop party, and I listened to their music and their laughter, and I really wished I could have joined in.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you get a chance to see how the neighborhood really works when you're living in it, don't you?
Absolutely. The only disadvantage there was the dogs. Not so much for me because I was on the front, but on the back of the apartment where my husband's bedroom was, there was several very big, very bad dogs that never stopped barking.
Wow, yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah,
that's an issue in Mexico.
That can be an issue, and that's something you have to find out before you book.
Right, and if people do it right and they leave a review or something like that,
exactly,
then they should have that warning. So that you
I
can
agree,
be forewarned.
Because there was nothing about the dogs in the reviews.
Right.
But there was about the hill, so we were very aware that we were renting. It wasn't a surprise to us in any way.
Okay.
But there was nothing about the dogs, and I thought that was kind of sad.
So remember that when you're giving an Airbnb review, it's not wrong to give to tell people and forewarn them that, hey, I've done it. I had one where there was a rooster next to me, and I I said, hey, there's a rooster, you know?
Yeah. See, that would not bother me. I'm not bothered by roosters. I was raised at a farm, and when we were in Bali, in a villa there, we had lots of roosters around us, and the roosters
I know.
never
Well, there's
bothered
very
me.
special farm people around there that aren't, but, you know, me, city boy here.
City boy, oh, that'd be an annoying noise.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. So now you've returned. Is this your third trip now?
This is our third trip.
Do you have anything to share with us about your second trip?
Well, the second trip, we stayed in two areas of Amapas, what they call Upper Amapas and Lower Amapas.
Uh-huh.
And the first place was very, very unusual.
Yeah.
It had a funicular that ran from condo to condo. Each condo was one floor.
Oh, wow.
So you didn't really you really had amazing amount of privacy there. We had a hot tub on our actually a jacuzzi on our deck, so we could use the jacuzzi daily, and that was really helpful for sore bodies.
Yeah.
And the pool down below was beautiful, and very seldom was there anybody in it, so it almost felt like you had your own private pool.
Nice.
So it was a really beautiful experience, and our adult children joined us there, and they just loved the funicular. They thought that was just so much fun going up and down on that.
And you probably needed it too, right? Because if you're going to put in a funicular, you need one. Right?
It was so steep you couldn't even imagine. Yes, straight up the hillside.
Wow.
It was,
all right.
Well,
good for you guys. Unless the thing breaks down, then you're doing the hike, right? Then you're doing the hike to the cross.
Well, no. Then you take a taxi.
Oh, okay. Well, really, there was access.
Oh yes, you can come up the back of the property with a vehicle, and we'd often take a taxi home.
Okay.
So we didn't have to walk up the first part of the hill before there was the funicular, because the funicular was only on the property, our property.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Now about that property. I guess I should ask you about all the properties. I find that, I found, because I was up at Conchas Chinas, that it was a little bit of a hassle to take a taxi into town every day. How do you feel about that?
We never took taxis into town. We either walked, which we enjoyed, or we took the bus. So we would take this bus from Conchas Chinas, which only took about 5 minutes maximum, and at the time it was 7.5 pesos. Now it's gone up to 10.
Yeah.
But so inexpensive, it's just not worth talking about, really.
Good.
I mean,
all right,
really
then
cheap.
that's the good way to do it.
Yeah, very good.
But when I was there, I was with someone who was not mobile enough to hop on a bus.
Yes,
so
yes.
So I had to do taxis, but that's another story. We won't go there. You just stayed at the one location then, that second trip?
The second part of the trip, we went to Lower Conchas Chinas, Lower Amapas, pardon me. The two are sort of interlocked. It's sort of hard to tell where Conchas Chinas begins and Amapas ends, back and forth. So we went to a second property in Lower Amapas, and it was a beautiful Mexican property. Of all the places we stayed in so far, which is now 5, that would probably be the one we consider buying if we ever considered buying.
Interesting, okay.
But we would never consider buying in Mexico, okay? Just not. I've never had a vacation home anywhere.
Right.
It's just not my thing. I really like the freedom of being able to go from place to place to place and not spend all my time.
Right. And you've been to a couple different places in Mexico this year, haven't you?
Yes. We were on the other side. We were in Quintana Roo, Puerto Morelos. We stayed in a apartment condo there for a week, and then we went over to Merida for 2 weeks, and we stayed at the Luz in Yucatan, which is just one of the most amazing little boutique hotels. It is the nunnery of the Santa Lucia Square is there, and the Santa Lucia Church, and this is the old nunnery from the church, which they've redid into this amazing boutique hotel.
Oh, wow. So how did you find Yucatan?
Well, this was our third trip to the Yucatan and third trip to Quintana Roo. And we obviously enjoyed it a lot, or we wouldn't have been back for the third time.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All
The only I love Merida, but the only thing I don't like about it is the mosquitoes.
Yeah? Oh, really? Merida's got some skeeters out there, huh?
Yeah, they seem to have several kinds. They have great big ones, little ones, and little teeny-weeny ones, and the little ones seem to bite worse than any of them. And they have a fair
Isn't
amount.
it always that way?
Little people, little bugs. Anyway, they also have no-see-em, so I was pretty beaten up, a lot of bites. I still have a few scars on my body from them.
Okay.
Not so much fun.
Yeah.
But the restaurant scene there is just absolutely amazing.
Really? Is it rival Vallarta?
I'm in Vallarta right now.
Go ahead and say it. No, it's better than in Vallarta. Go ahead and say it if you want to.
Well, it's different than Vallarta.
Okay.
I just found the food, I can't explain it. The food in Vallarta quite often, I think, is more Americanized or Canadianized. But over there, the food is more, to me, real. Like you go to a Spanish restaurant, the food is Spanish. And I'm talking like Spanish from Spain. You go to a Mexican restaurant, the food is Mexican. One of the things that I really liked over there was a lot of different ethnicities. And one of the ethnicities that's really big over there is the Lebanese. Because a lot of Lebanese people immigrated to Mexico, to that area. So you just had some amazing Lebanese food.
Wow. All right. Put that on your list, folks. Check it out. And bring the DEET with you, whatever you do.
And a matter of fact, DEET isn't always that great over there. You're way better off to, I found out later, is to try and buy the local products for mosquitoes that work in that area. That's why I was so bitten up. I was using our BC, British Columbian DEET, and I talked to people later, and they said if you use their local products, I wouldn't have had so many bites.
Excellent. Okay, that's a good suggestion, and we do the same thing here too.
Yeah,
we talk about using the local off.
Yeah,
and that seems to work really well.
Exactly.
All right, so third trip. Where are you at now?
Okay, so now we are at Playa Punta Negra, which is a lovely, lovely white sandy beach outside of town, about 10 minutes by bus max.
South.
Yeah, south town, absolutely. And I really love it. It just never, the waves just come in and roll and roll and roll. And I find it very meditative. I find it also really nice to sleep to. Yeah. That endless white noise. It's really, really special. And it's so quiet out there. We went last night. Last night we went to the Girasol Sur for dinner on their patio, and it's a layered patio. There's a lower layer, and then there's an upper layer, and then there's the covered area. And we were on the upper balcony area of that patio. And I was so thankful that we weren't on the lower one, because every so often a big rogue wave would come in and wash over the people and soak them down the back. It was so funny.
Yeah, the waves are a little bit high this time of year, I'll tell you.
They say they're higher than normal. At least that's what they're saying at Punta Negra.
That for sure.
So anyway, that was quite an experience. But I really felt we had looked at the Girasol for a holiday rental.
Yeah.
And we ended up at Punta Negra because we had taken a taxi out there last year to see what it was like. And the staff welcomed us in and showed us around. And we just went, I think this is our kind of place. It just had a really nice feeling about it. Mm-hmm. So that's where we are. And we really are enjoying it.
You like it there? But you still like that?
Well, that was my favorite condo.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't my favorite location.
All right, so tell me your favorite location.
Right, Punta Negra is my favorite location.
Okay, so now we know.
Yeah.
You like the beach. I mean, that's obvious to me right now.
I like the beach. But the second thing is, like, even at the Girasol, they have a beach, but it felt like being in a resort. there was the Girasol and several other condos right on a very, very small beach.
Yeah.
And it was really intense. Like, it was fun to go there for the evening, but I could feel the intensity of the pool was the size of our pool, which we usually have 3 or 4 people in. They would have 30 or 40 people in.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So this is totally different experience.
It's more like an owner-owned feeling. Like it's a condo building that feels more owner-owned, and it's not it's not touristy.
Right. Not a lot of rentals in there.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. I think there's only a couple of rentals.
Let's talk a little bit about food. What kind of places do you like to eat? Where are your favorite places? What do you?
Okay, here we go.
Because you know, this is what we talk about on this show. You know, we want to get the scoop.
Yeah, I really like food. I like the River Cafe because it's right on the river, as its namesake says. It has an elegance and a warmth to it that I don't find in all the restaurants in Puerto Vallarta by any stretch. The food there is what I call upscale Mexican. Really delicious food. They have a huge, long happy hour from I think about 1 in the middle of the day till about sunset. And they make the best margaritas you can imagine. The staff is very friendly, and some of them are hilarious. They've really got the jokes down, I'll tell you. Really good people. Really good people. Another place I really like is the Merida Grill, for an obvious reasons, because I'm a fan of the Yucatan food.
Yeah.
I love Mayan food, and they do it as well as anywhere I've had in the Yucatan. It's really well done.
What do you get when you eat there?
When I go there, I really like the duck carnitas. They're very, very good. They have several specialties. Off the top of my head, I can't think of, but boy, they're
Duck
really worth
carnitas
going.
at the spot there.
Yeah,
Very good.
They're a little bit formal in their service, but I still think it's just cultural and it's lovely.
Yeah. Okay.
Another restaurant I really like is Los Rios. It's a little mom and pop run restaurant up on Aguacate. I've eaten dozens of meals there and tasted everybody's meals at all those meals. And so I have a pretty good feeling for that menu. I would say I've probably tried just about everything on the menu, and I've never found one thing there that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
It's really seafood orientated, very clean food. And when I say clean, I don't mean anybody's dirty. I just mean the flavors are not muddied. They're really clean, crisp flavors.
Very good.
Now,
where is that located? It's on Aguacate?
On Aguacate, right at the end.
Okay.
And it's an old house, and the restaurant is situated on the patio, covered patio around the house, and there's flowers blooming all around that give you a really nice feeling of being away from the street, even though you're relatively close to the street.
Uh-huh.
It's a really nice place to be.
Good. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
I haven't tried that one yet.
You
I
haven't
have
tried
to
it?
try it.
Oh.
Yeah, got to try it.
They say there's long lineups now, and I'm afraid all my reviews on TA have kind of messed it up for me to get in there now, because they don't take reservations.
Oh, yeah,
No
so you do have to line
reservations.
up, don't you?
Yeah. Another place I really like is Mariscos El Guero. It's a little mom and pop place. They also own a fish store, so you can imagine that the seafood and fish that they serve in their restaurant is absolutely dead fresh. I've eaten just about everything there. I'm a huge seafood and fish fan. When I come here, I can't imagine why I would have a steak, because I can have a steak in British Columbia coming out of Alberta. We got some of the best beef in the world. But the seafood in Puerto Vallarta is just exquisite, really. The other day, I had a salad at Guero's, and it was a shrimp and prawn and scallop salad that was covered with sliced tomatoes and thinly sliced onions, and then totally capped with sliced avocados. And They served it with a bowl of lime wedges and freshly ground pepper and wonderful olive oil, and you could just make your salad exactly as you wanted it, and it's just delicious.
Wow, yeah, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, and inexpensive beyond belief. Both El Guero's and Los Rios is really, really cheap to eat at.
Yeah, so kind of like little hidden fondas, but not really. Not they're not hidden at all. They actually can see them, right?
Yeah, but they are they're what I'd call hidden gems.
Yeah, definitely.
They're off the beaten track. They are not downtown on B&B, and they're not on the Malecon. These are set back a few blocks, but it's worth walking a few blocks. You don't have to stay on the beach all the time.
No, you don't. That's for sure. You have any others that you can share with us?
Okay, well, you know, if you get me talking about food, I could go on all day.
I know, but I've got you on a roll, so maybe I get you for one or two more.
Well, I really liked El Aran, as you know.
Uh-huh.
Am I saying that correctly?
Ariane, see?
Ariane.
Yeah.
I really did like that. That is one of the most charming restaurants I've been to in Puerto Vallarta. And again, it's set back, about 5 or 6 blocks, would you think?
Yeah, a couple. Yeah, not too many. Maybe 3, maybe 4. Yeah. Yeah, maybe 5. It is. I do remember. I do remember walking up the street. Yeah, on Allende, right?
It's about 5 blocks.
Yeah.
And it's an open-sided restaurant, but it's covered over top, except the very center. There's a courtyard with the Ariane tree in it.
Ariane tree, yeah.
And we were seated right there under the tree, and we had a lovely meal. Our cocktails are exquisite. They're very imaginative. So nice to drink something other than margaritas all the time.
Right.
And the food was very well prepared. I had the duck because I'm a duck person. I love duck, rabbit, those kind of things. That's what kind of things I want when I go out.
Yeah, you're eating Warner Brothers food, ducks and rabbits.
Yeah, ducks and rabbits. But yeah, that's what if I'm going out for a really nice dinner, and if I'm going to eat protein other than seafood and fish, I like duck or rabbit or something like that.
Nice.
Or lamb. Lamb will work too.
Okay, sure, of course. Yeah, you definitely want to stick with the Warner Brothers theme, so we're all good with that. Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any advice for a first-time visitor to Puerto Vallarta?
My advice to a first-time visitor to Puerto Vallarta is don't stay in a resort. Get out and meet the people. Stay at least in a hotel towards town where you can get here easily. If you're staying for an extended period of time, I would definitely recommend a condo rental or maybe one of the lovely little B&Bs that are sprinkled around town as well. Get out and meet the people. Don't feel negative thoughts towards the beach vendors and people trying to make a living. Try to treat them with respect. Always give them a smile and say no thank you or gracias no, or just be polite.
Yeah.
These people are really part of the fiber of Puerto Vallarta, and I think the other advice I would give is just slow down, enjoy it. Go to a restaurant. Don't rush the staff. They're going to make you a lovely meal, but they're going to take their time doing it because they're making it from scratch. Things here are not pre-prepared like you get at home, so everything takes time. When it's time for your check at the end of the evening, ask them politely for la cuenta, por favor. They're not going to bring it to you unless you ask, because it was culturally impolite to do so. So just remember, these people are here for you, and you should be there for them.
Excellent. God, that's great advice. I think we could just stop right now. I mean, God, that was great. Is there anything else? Have I missed anything that you want to say?
No, not really, Gary.
Oh. Okay. Well, Constance, I got to tell you, you've been a wealth of information. If I can get that information from you a little bit later as to the places you stayed, maybe I can post them on the in the episode so that people can find it. And if you've got one really particular one that you don't want to give up forever, that's okay. We'll hide it from everybody so they're not all jumping on it.
That sounds great, Barry.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. On my first visit here to do the podcast, I sat and had dinner with you and Dwayne over at Layla's, as I remember, a couple years back.
Yes, I do. I remember that. That was wonderful.
Yeah, well, I really appreciated it.
We've been getting around, haven't we? We went to Layla's, and then we went to La Palapa with you.
Yeah.
And now we're at Lagostino's.
That's where Lagostino's. And
I think that's pretty good.
I think Lagostino's is a great place to do a podcast episode.
Yes.
I hope that my listeners think the same thing. This has been some pretty nice music.
Oh, yeah. The background music has been perfect for the podcast, don't you think?
I think so, too. Well, we'll find out.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Barry.
All right. Thank you, Constance. I have links to the properties that are still available. Some of them have sold, as well as pictures. I have links to the restaurants that you talked about and so forth. So just go right over to www.puertovallartatravelshow.com, go to this episode, and you can check out the links and the different places that she stayed. The prices for these places that they stayed, now these were all 2-bedroom places, so they were able to have their kids come and stay with them if they wanted to. They could have their own rooms if they wanted to. It was very nice. And they spent anywhere between $190 to $230 per night in these very beautiful properties. Now, next week, I hope to run the interview with Head of Lettuce. Head of Lettuce was a riot. You are going to like this. I'm going to produce that from Puerto Vallarta. I'll get it out for sure next week, just as soon as I clean up some of the F words and S words. But it is hilarious. And I apologize to all of you listeners out there. I've been sporadic with my podcast release schedule lately, but I have a real job here in Los Angeles, as you may remember. I sell houses. I'm a realtor. I have a realtor wife, too, and Deborah and I are very, very busy these days, thank goodness. And she's going to hold down the fort while I'm hunting for interviews in paradise. And, of course, it's a great deal for me, for sure, but it's not all fun and games for me. She makes work for me while I'm down here, believe it or not. I do interviews, sure, but she passes me work, and I do it. So either I'm in my Airbnb doing that work, or if the internet really sucks, then I'll go over to Vallarta Cowork so I can get some work done, get some speed that I need. And, of course, luckily for me, in the business that I'm in, I can sell houses, I can send documents for signatures, I can even list a home or write an offer for a client right from my computer in Mexico. And I take all my phone calls, emails, texts, take them all. And I treat it like a job because that's what I do for a living. I can produce flyers. I can send them to my printer for distribution. I can create just sold postcards and have them all mailed right there from Puerto Vallarta. And nobody knows that I'm even out of the country except for my wife. So it's not all fun and games, okay? But anyway, don't forget, if you are planning on being in Puerto Vallarta on the 8th of October, come on by Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse. We're going to be there at 5:30. And be sure, if you haven't already, to like the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show Facebook page to get alerts and news as it breaks in Puerto Vallarta, as well as announcements of our meet and greets. I'm going to have a second one, I think, the following Tuesday, if all goes well, and I'll make that announcement as well. Okay, that should do it for this week. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember, this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, well, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you are considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, this is a value-for-value proposition, my friends. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else. So do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, he's got his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more. And I have links to all of those in the show notes. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe and give me a good review on iTunes or anywhere you listen to your podcasts. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, then you really need to have a look there. I have links to the places that we talk about, interesting pictures, and more right there in my blog posts and in the show notes for each episode of the show that I create. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right, thanks to Diego Maldonado from Tuna Azul. Check out their great lobster tacos, the tuna, the fresh seafood, the cool view. It's great. And thank you, Constance from Nanaimo. That was great background music, wasn't it? Thanks for telling us all about your experiences here in Puerto Vallarta. And thank you for all that condo info. And thank you, Jimmy Pluff. Make sure to look at the water filter in the show notes. I've got it there. Buy one to take for this or the next emergency, right? And thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for all of you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
De Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino interno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. De Puerto Vallarta.